welcome to the Tonight Show with the Tigresses. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, the former England international, a Tigers legend, and Women's Rugby League legend. It's Claire Garner. But before we get to the conversation, we've got to thank all our fantastic shirt sponsors. First of all, massive thank you to Hillside Childcare. Thank you to the GMB Union. Thank you to the Track Spider Solutions, Castle Commercial Cleaning Services, Yorkshire Flight Simulator, Pizza Prima, D&M Family Butchers, the Castleford Tigers Foundation, B&J Golding, SB Paving, Mara Falcons, and also Anthony Higgins Transport. Plus, a big thank you to Claire's individual sponsors, David and Peter Walker. They've sponsored so many players over the years. They've been big fans of the women's team as well. So thank you very much to them. Right, Claire, time to get into the conversation. I mean, the big news a few days ago coming out that you have decided to hang up your boots and step away from Rugby League. I have to tell you, Claire, very sad news on mine. I enjoyed watching you at Cass and even when you were playing for Bradford. I mean, what can you say about your decision?
I think COVID sort of forced the hand a little bit. With my injury late on last time I played against Wakefield and then managed to play the Saints game. And I think coupled with my age, I've played rugby for 24 years now and I'm no spring chicken. I think now is the right time to sort of take a step back and let the youngsters sort of come through. It wasn't an easy decision and it has upset me and it was a hard decision to sort of make. But it had to be done and it's my body's tired and I have to start listening to it now if I want to have some sort of future. Like eventually I want kids and I want to be able to play with them and I don't want to be able to, I don't know, be in a wheelchair because my knees are that knackered or just do some permanent damage and that was a major sort of thinking behind it. So yeah, it wasn't an easy decision by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I can absolutely imagine. It must have been, at the age of 30 as well, you still have a lot of years left, especially rugby, as you see players playing into 30, 35-year-olds. So, I mean, I personally as well was good. I couldn't believe the news, but obviously that injury against Wakefield, I'm guessing that was a massive factor, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like, I have played rugby since I was 6 years old. So it's not as if I started quite late. I have played rugby for a long time and playing week in, week out. And it does sort of take its toll on you. And it wasn't just that injury. Like I am getting sort of old in sort of a rugby sense because I've been playing it for so long. Young still, I've still got my whole life ahead of me. But in a rugby sense, like I said, 24 years is longer than some of the girls I've been playing with have been alive. And I've been fortunate enough to start from a young age and progress through and see how far women's rugby's come on. And yeah, it's just, I think now it is the best time more than ever to sort of step back and let others come through and shine.
Did you speak to any of the players about it? Did you discuss it? I mean, how long was the process between you thinking about it and actually announcing it?
To be honest, I didn't speak to anybody. And the honest reason about that is because I didn't want to second guess myself. I wanted it to be a decision which was solely my decision and had no influence from anybody, and there was nobody that could talk me out of it. I have had countless conversations with myself. I didn't even tell my parents that I was going to retire. I was sat at work and I had the message in my phone, and I typed it all out. I copied and pasted it into our WhatsApp group, and I was like 5, but I counted it down to 1 and then just hit send. And then I knew as soon as I sent it, that was it. That was the news that I was retiring. And like I said, I didn't want to speak to anyone about it because I didn't want to second guess my decision. The decision had been made in my head, and I wanted to follow it through.
Claire, I would like to ask you, would you be able to share with us your rugby league story? I know you mentioned you started playing when you were at the age of 6. Tell us, how did you get into the sport, and tell us how you managed to progress all the way to being an England international, a World Cup semi-finalist, and a grand final winner.
So my life started at rugby union. So as everybody knows, I'm traditionally by trade a rugby union player. So I went down to, it was my brother that really got me into it. So he was playing for Doncaster Rugby Club. And I was like, do you know what? I want a bit of that. Went down to under sevens, so progressed up to under 12s, and then by that point you weren't allowed to play with the lads anymore. So then I had to go to various other girls' teams. And then it got to a point where I wanted a different challenge. So I think it was in 2016. I was watching Bradford versus Featherstone at Featherstone. Bradford was short of a couple of players, so I said I would play. I was on the bench for a bit, and then my first position at Rugby League was wing, so they put me on the wing. So I remember I was on Aim Hardcastle's wing, so that was a baptism of fire to see how hard she hit and how hard she ran. And then sort of joined up with Bradford because it was the point where Mouse was retiring as well. She was going to have a kid, so she took a step back. So I sort of luckily managed to get a place in the Bradford side, and then sort of progressed from there. Went to a few national development camps with Chris Chapman, and went to their sort of training sessions. And then I was fortunate enough to get my first cap against France in the October 2016. And then from there, it just really progressed for Bradford. And then I was fortunate enough to be selected to go to Australia as well. So that's really my rugby league journey. I had heaps of success with Bradford. I mean, I was fortunate that Kirsty Maroney was still there. And so she was sort of like, she took me under her wing, so to speak, and taught me everything really about the game. So she was really sort of like my mentor, so to speak, which was fortunate. She's got a lot of years under her belt and a lot of experience. So I owe a lot to Bradford to get to where I got, and a lot to the players there as well for the support that they provided.
Can you tell us about the invincible season back in I think it was 2017, where you were part of the Bradford team and you literally won, I think, every game in that calendar year, won every single trophy on offer. That must have been a sensational experience.
Yeah, massively. Particularly because they were called Thatcher Heath at the time. They were the dominant team of the league. They effectively won everything there was to win. And for some reason that year we just hit the ground running, and we managed to win one game. Then it was 2 games, then 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, and before we knew it, we were in finals, winning Challenge Cup finals and grand finals, and to be part of that and to go unbeaten, it is something special, and particularly leading up to the World Cup as well. The amount of confidence that gives you going into the World Cup was something that we probably couldn't wish for any better.
What was that experience like of going over to Australia in 2017 and playing in what is, you know, the biggest tournament that a rugby league player can play in?
Yeah, like the experience overall was great. The Australians live, breathe, and eat rugby league, and they're really, really passionate about that. Unfortunately, I wasn't selected for the first couple of games. I managed to get a game against the Cook Islands, which unfortunately we went on to lose. But to be out there playing like in Australia and watching the Australians and the Kiwis playing, and even to like the Papua New Guineas and the Cook Islands, and how some of those girls hit, was just to see that firsthand was just something that I know I'll never ever see again, because it was something special. And that's when sort of I think rugby league really got onto the map as well, because at the end of it all, it was a joint World Cup final with the men's and the women's on the same day on the same pitch. So yeah, I think that's where sort of rugby league has really kicked off, and then we're just off the back of that, and hopefully going into the next World Cup we can do it one step better.
Any special memories from that trip to Australia? Any good stories from camp?
Isn't it the saying, what goes on tour stays on tour? But no, I think the whole experience as a whole is something that I will cherish until I die. It's not often you can say you've gone to a World Cup over in Australia. So just the whole experience as a whole was something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
And obviously, fast forward to 2019, you're joining Castleford Tigers. Can you tell us about your decision to move to Cass? Who persuaded you to come to Cass, and your beginnings at the club?
There was no one really persuaded me. I know Cal messaged me on Facebook to say like what my intentions were for the season. At that point, I'd signed for Keighley, but then Keighley sort of went under. That didn't materialise into what was promised. So I was sort of a free agent, and I contacted Cal, and because it was close to where I worked, and I said, "Look, I know I subbed you before, but is there any chance I can come down and see what you're about?" And he was more than happy and really accommodating. Had a chat with him and Lindsay, and yeah, that was sort of the beginning of the chapter, so to speak. And then from there came to a couple of pre-seasons, and then that's when the season really started.
You joined in 2019, and that season you were given the captain's armband. Now, how did that feel? You're coming in as a new player, and you're being asked by the team to lead the team forward.
Yeah, okay, it was a shock because I really didn't expect it. Obviously, as a new player coming into a team that had already been developed, and it was a developed squad, and was really progressing through the years as well. So for me to come in and sort of take the captain's armband was an honour, a surprise, but something that I didn't take for granted at all. Like, I could see how much the girls respected me and I respected them, so it was a two-way thing. And I think if you've got that sort of mutual respect, you work hard for each other. And I think that's something that I think I would pride my captaincy on, is that we did work hard for each other during the season. Granted, some of the results didn't quite go our way, but I think we could be proud of everything that we achieved that season, and it certainly built the foundations for us to then progress into future seasons.
Did you expect, when you came to Cass, did you expect us to make such a fast start? Because I remember the first few games, we went over to York, we won quite comfortably. We went to Wigan, the defending champions back then, we won quite comfortably. We played Leeds, we nilled them at the Jungle, and then obviously we went to France. That start was sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a better start to the season, I don't think. I think we surprised ourselves with the quality of rugby that we were playing. Granted, it wasn't the best, but if you took out the bits that weren't so great, the bits that were great were pretty awesome, and that's why we got the results that we did. And like I said, we worked hard for each other, on and off the pitch. We looked after each other, and that's what I think we pride ourselves on as a squad. And that sort of carried on throughout the season. We weren't shy at telling people if they weren't quite pulling their weight, and likewise we were really receptive of any feedback we got from other players. We had our tough times, of course we did, every squad does. But what we did do off the pitch showed on the pitch with the results that we were churning out.
Is there a bit of a disappointment, of course, because due to the two finals, the Challenge Cup final and the grand final, it must be still a bittersweet feeling on the back of that. What was a relatively good 2019 season?
Yeah, finals are finals. There's always going to be one winner and one loser, and it's by whatever team turns up on the day. I think the squad that we have at Cass is a relatively is a young squad, and they've got plenty of rugby years ahead of them. So the fact that they can make a season whereby they win the league Leaders' Shield, and make two grand finals with the majority of the squad being as young as they are, I think that's something that, one, they can be proud of, and two, get real confidence from, in the fact that in a couple of years' time they're going to be really challenging for more silverware. Yeah, of course it's gutting losing the final, but like I said, there has to be a winner and a loser, and unfortunately on both occasions we came out second best.
I think one of the things about the 2019 campaign, it was really fun to be around the place during that season. Every training session, every match day, it was a fun atmosphere. And I think a lot of credit has to go down to you. Can you tell us about one of the things you introduced there, the dice rolls? Can you tell the fans what they were about?
Yeah, so we introduced the dice roll just to get a bit of more of although the dice roll was sort of a bit of fun, it was to try and introduce a more professional ethos into the team. So if somebody was late, if somebody wasn't wearing the right kit, if somebody didn't clean up after themselves, left the water bottles behind, they had to do a dice roll. So it was numbered 1 to 6, and each one had a forfeit. A apart from number 6, which was you got let off. So it's something fun for the girls. That like if somebody did something, it was a bit of excitement about it, and that they knew something had gone wrong and they had to do a forfeit. So it was about being fun, but being with a bit of seriousness involved in it as well. And I think from that, a lot of girls learn not to leave the water bottles behind. But it also, if you have that sort of professional environment, then it breeds more professionalism and instills that into players, and it'll go into the training, into the playing, and ultimately, hopefully, translate onto the pitch.
From the time you started playing rugby to today, do you think there's an increased amount of professionalism now in the women's game compared to what it used to be?
Yeah, so when I was at the ripe old young age of about 8, 9, 10, there was no female changing rooms at all. I got changed in the car, and then afterwards I just got my boots and I went straight to the clubhouse. Now, as years have gone on, you get females with their own changing rooms. They get to play on the main pitches, and then you get the support from the men's club as well. So you get, I know at Cass we've got the ground, but then we've also got the likes of like Stacey Emmons who came in with the strength and conditioning, and to have somebody like that, as high quality as she is and how respected she is in her field, is something that I would never have dreamt of having when I was a little kid. So for the game to progress, and for the likes of yourself as well, how much you promote the sport and how received that is by the public, is something that I would never have dreamed of in a million years. Like when I was, I think about 15, 16, I said, never in my lifetime will I ever see women get paid to play rugby. And here we are in 2021 now, and the girls got paid for being out in the nines. I know rugby union players getting paid. And I think if they do well in the Rugby World Cup, that can only be a positive thing for the sport, and hopefully that'll turn into monetary value for the girls.
Another aspect I wanted to ask you about from that 2019 campaign really was the fans, the love that the fans started giving the women's team. They started coming out in their hundreds, then their thousands. I mean, 500 came all the way to Bolton. What do you make of the way that the fans have responded to Women's Rugby League and Castleford Tigers in particular?
I think it's fantastic that the club and the fans have got behind the girls. I think if you'd have said to us when we went to play York away when it was freezing, oh, we're going to get over 1,000 people to watch you one day, I think the girls would have looked at you as if you had 4 heads, because never had that really been done unless it was a final. And for us to sort of build the reputation of the club, you with the promotion of the club through various videos which get banned or anything like that, I think is only a good thing, and that's why it's the more we played great rugby, the word of mouth then started to spread, and through various social media channels, through word of mouth, the name of Cass Tigers women started to spread around not only Castleford but like surrounding towns and cities, and I think we've truly put it on the map. I mean, you only have to look at how many Instagram followers we have. I think that's more than probably any championship side has. So for us to have a following of that, granted, 90% of them might not be interested in what we do, but the followers, and for us to have that sort of exposure can only be a good thing for not only for Cass Tigers women, but for Rugby League as a sport in general.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's only going to go one way, hopefully, and that is up. And hopefully we can continue to grow the sport. But now, Claire, it's time to get into your best 13, the best 13 players that you have played with or played against. You have made your list. Tell me, Claire, who have you gone with as your number 1, your fullback?
So for number 1, I went with the St Helens player, Jodie Cunningham. I think her understanding and reading of the game is absolutely phenomenal. The support she provides to players both on and off the pitch is second to none. And to have that sort of experience at the back is sort of reassuring, as well as sort of knowing that you're doing the right thing if she does give you praise. And she's quick to tell you if you're not doing the right thing as well, which is something that you want in a player. So yeah, I've gone for Jodie Cunningham.
On the wing, number 2, Kelsey Gentles. Tell us about that choice.
So I've played against Kelsey and I played with Kelsey. So when I played against her, she was like a feisty player that, although she had great talent, would, like I said, really, really feisty. And I, when I met her at the beginning of the season, I've seen how she's developed throughout the season. And I think she should be proud of where she's come from to where she is now. And her commitment and her desire for the sport is second to none. I mean, you only have to look at that video when she played nines and she ran back from pretty much her own try line and made a try-saving tackle. And that just shows the dedication and commitment that she has. And I think she will go far in the sport.
Number 3, you went with the youngest player to ever play in the Challenge Cup final. You went with Holly Dodd.
Yeah, no, I wanted to put her in second row, but then there was a couple of other players there. But I thought she needs to be in my 13. I think she's a class player, and she's got a lot of years ahead of her. And to be able to take to a Challenge Cup final at the age that she was, I think it is a credit to herself. And to hold her own as well. She didn't let it get to her or anything like that. So yeah, I've gone with the youngster.
Definitely a massive future ahead for Holly Dodd. Number 4, though, you've gone for a player we've already mentioned before here, Amy Hardcastle.
Yeah, I think Amy is probably the first name on anyone's team sheet. The way she runs and the lines she hits, when she plays at the top of her game, she is world class, and everybody in the world knows that. So, yeah, Amy Hardcastle.
The next one, number 5, you've gone for Tara Stanley. Of course, the player you've played with at Castleford Tigers.
Only because we needed a kicker. So, no, I'm only joking. No, she's a class player as well. She's got a good side step on her. Yeah, a good finisher when it comes to tries. So, yeah, get her on the wing, and then she can kick the conversion afterwards.
And at number 6, I think a player that many Cas fans or many fans new to Rugby League might not be familiar with, but Jen Welsby.
Yeah, so Welsby played at Tasso Heath. Unfortunately, she had to retire as well due to injury. But she's a player that I played alongside at England and a player that I learned a lot from. And any time that we played against Tasso, she held that team together and directed them around, along with Faye Gaskin. But yeah, I went with Jenny Welsby.
Next up at number 7, it's the Bradford Bulls absolute legend, an England legend. It's Kirsty Moroney.
Yeah, like I said to you previously, I learned a lot from her, and she's got a lot of experience and a lot of years under her belt. And yes, she was sort of my mentor. So yeah, she's going in my squad.
Next up, one of my all-time favourite rugby players. I've said this before. It's Emma Slowe.
Yeah, I mean, like again, she's probably the first prop you're going to put on your team sheet. Even now, like in the 2019 season. She's got 4 players hanging off of her and she can still get an offload out. So that woman's a magician. So yeah, she's going in my team.
Number 9, obviously the new coach of Leeds Rhino is Lois Forsell.
Yeah, another unfortunate one that had to retire due to injury. I played a lot with Lois. She was in the Invincibles years. I played with her at England. Just a great hooker. And like so unfortunate that she had to be forced to retire due to injury because she would have again been a dominant force in the England squad.
At number 10, another a young player who's only in her 20s, but you went with her. It's Grace Field.
Yeah, but only because she put some hits in, and I played rugby union with Grace as well, and I'm glad that I'm on her team. I know when she was at Featherstone, I was at Bradford. I didn't want to. Purely for the fact I wanted to keep my head on my shoulders because I knew it would get wiped clean off if she hit me. So yeah.
And on the last episode, she mentioned you came up with a nickname for her, the Jukebox. Is that true?
Yeah, because Clint and Eddie call her the Jukebox because of the big hits that she's got. So they call her the Jukebox. Jukey.
That's absolutely brilliant. Number 11, you were a little bit split here. You've gone for Emily Rudge, obviously Walshy. So are you going to include them both here?
Well, I don't know whether she's called Emily Rudge or Emily Walsh now because she obviously got married. So
okay,
it's Rudgy. So yeah, Rudgy. She she again runs great lines. It's just a workhorse, really. And yeah, talks a lot when she's on the pitch. She provides that reassurance and obviously tells you what she needs from you.
Number 12 now, Shauna Hoyle.
Yeah, again, I played with her at Bradford and now at Cass, and I really love the way she plays, the lines she hits, and just sort of enthusiasm for the girls as well. I think she always wants the best for you. So to have that sort of experience, knowledge, and sort of reassurance next year is something that, yeah, I'd want in my squad.
And at loose forward, you've got another player who's everybody has mentioned her so far at loose forward. It's Rhiannon Marshall.
Yeah. I think she doesn't give herself the credit that she needs to, and I think Danica Pre mentioned her recently on a podcast whereby if she can put all the elements that she has in her game together and put a fitness, a strength, a game together, I think she would be a world-class player, and she has the potential to do it. And I know she's working hard behind the scenes now, and I've got every ounce of confidence that she will be a world beater, and I hope that she does continues to put the work in. That's
brilliant. That's your 1 to 13, Claire. I have to tell you, that is some team. If you could put all that together, that would be a grand final winning team for sure. But now it's time to go over some fan questions. We've had some questions on Instagram and Facebook. We'll get into a few of them, and we'll try and get a few answers from you. The first one from Instagram: what do you plan to do in retirement?
At the moment, I'm playing FIFA, so I'm really into FIFA. So, I mean, lockdown's not helping. Because nothing's open, so I can't do anything. So I'm putting all my effort into FIFA. I've started running a lot more now, so I do my little 5Ks every now and then, just try and keep my fitness up in there. Just give me that sort of release, because obviously being cooped up all the time, it can get you down. So FIFA and running 5Ks, if that's ever a combination.
Oh, that's a brilliant combination. The second question, any chance of staying in the game through coaching?
Right now, I just want to enjoy retirement. I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm not thinking too far ahead because I just want to enjoy retiring. I've spent every weekend for the last 24 years committed to rugby, plus the training sessions midweek. So I just want to enjoy my time off and put my feet up and enjoy a nice coffee.
Perfect. Next one from Alison Monks here. Would you consider a coaching role to support Lindsay? Again, maybe a question further into the future.
Yeah, maybe. I've only got my rugby union qualifications at the moment, so I'll probably need to get some sort of qualifications. But I'm more than happy to provide an insight wherever and whenever it's needed. But Lindsay's got a heap of experience behind her and a great backroom staff. So if in the future I can contribute to that, then maybe. But right now, I'm not looking any further than where Forest thinks that we're going to come out of this lockdown.
The next question is going to be a tough one. Obviously, you are a Super League winner, a Challenge Cup winner, an England international. You've won the League Leaders' Shield. So what about this? What was your biggest achievement while playing rugby?
I'll be honest, I think aside from going to Australia, sort of at a club level was leading the team to the League Leaders' Shield. Like I said to you before, I think the League Leaders is massively underrated by everybody. I think League Leaders shows consistency throughout the season, and although the Grand Final and the Challenge Cup Final are absolutely awesome, I think the League Leaders is sort of in their shadows a little bit, because it's not seen as this massively grand occasion because you just won the league. So, but yeah, no, I think leading the girls through to a League Leaders is probably my highlight.
That leads nicely to the next question, actually from Carl. How does it feel that you were the first captain of Castleford Tigers women to lift major silverware?
Do you know what? I think I've said this to you before. I think any one of those girls could have lifted that. I was just fortunate enough that I was a captain. If you could have given it to anyone because everyone fully deserved it. Everyone put the fair share of work into it. It felt awesome lifting it because we'd worked so hard to get it. But at that time, that was a third of the job done. So instantly our sights turned elsewhere. But looking back now, to lift the first major silverware was something that I'll never forget and I'll cherish. And that's why I think now is a great time to leave the game. I mean, what more could you want than lifting the league leader shield and the first bit of silverware to cast?
And obviously you've gone down in history because you're the first captain. You know, people are going to look back in 40, 50, 100 years' time. They're going to look at the records. You were the captain to lift the first ever piece of major silverware.
Yeah. But like I said, although I go down in history as lifting it, it was a team thing, and I don't want to take all the glory because I was 30th of that effort. There was another 29 people behind the scenes that put an effort in to get us there, whether we were playing York, Leeds Rhinos, St Helens, whoever it may be. Somebody put an effort in for us to win that game and to ultimately win the league.
And I'm going to pick up a final question now from your sponsor, David Walker. He asks, are you going to be painting more often? Obviously, you're a keen artist now, aren't you, Claire?
I've got a little bit more time to do it now, haven't I? I haven't got any intention of painting anymore. If anyone wants me to do a painting, I'll probably do it for them. But it's more of a hobby than anything right now. And like I said, I was speaking to my partner Amy, and I was saying I might take up golf as a hobby, but then it's a little bit frustrating if it doesn't go right. So I just want something a little bit low intensity. So if anyone has any suggestions about what hobbies to sort of take up, feel free to send them over, and I'll certainly take a look into them.
I think that'll be a nice Twitter poll that we're going to put out later on.
Yeah.
If there are any interesting hobbies. But Claire, just before we go, obviously you're based in Ireland at this moment in time. Are you hoping to come down if the season gets underway and obviously the restrictions aren't so tight anymore? You're hoping to come down and see some of the games, hopefully this season?
Yeah, no. If I'm over, I'll definitely come up and watch. I'll be watching, even if I'm not over there. I'll certainly, because hopefully most of the games will be live streamed. I'll be supporting the girls from afar. I'm their number one supporter, and like every other person in Castleford, probably the number one supporter. But I'll never want to see them lose a game, and I'll feel it if we do lose a game. I only want the best for them, and that's why I think it is the right time for me to step back. But I'll certainly be there supporting, whether it be from over here or get a chance to come over there. I might even help you commentate if you're lucky.
You know what? I was just about to mention that if you are ever around, come down. You'll be the co-commentator, or we can get you announcing, or whatever you want. We can get you. We can get you doing it.
Yeah. I did a good job announcing that time, didn't I?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I think you've seen companies like Sky Sports having Jodie Cunningham on. You've seen companies like the BBC. I've seen Lois Forsell on a couple of times. Do you see yourself going onto one of these programs, sharing your experience, perhaps?
I don't know. I think I want to take a step back from sort of the media spotlight, so to speak, and just live a little quiet life over here in Ireland, and then see where it takes me. But for now, I'm just quite happy living a quiet life.
That is absolutely perfect. Claire, from myself, from everybody at Castleford Tigers, literally everybody from Lindsay to all the players, to all the past coaches, to all the current coaches, from everybody at Castleford, all the fans, all the supporters, thank you very much for all the memories. Thank you very much for all the conversions, all the tries, all the kicks, everything. Okay. Thank you for all the memories, all the dice rolls, absolutely everything. It's been the most wonderful 2019 season when you arrived, and I think part of that was part of your influence, and it's going to be a very, very sad time now that you have gone, but when one door is closed, another one opens, and I'm sure plenty of opportunities are coming your way. But for now, Claire, thank you very much for joining me, and I'm sure we'll see you next time.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone from the coaching staff through to the sponsors, fans, everybody. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for making 2019 so memorable.